Start the recording. All right, perfect. So welcome to Sunday Swing. So basically what this is I just show you guys my top 3, top 4, top 5 pairs that I'll be trading for the week. I essentially go through all of the markets that I analyze, and then I just pick the top 3, top 4, top 5, right? So I'm going to literally show you guys realistically 100% how I do it, because a lot of people think I do a very deep down breakdown, and that's not necessarily how, I'm not going to say not how it goes, but it's a lot simpler than that, because the way the strategy works is just very simple. So why shouldn't the breakdowns be very simple, right? So I'm just gonna go on the rant that I go on now. I just literally just start, going through all the pairs. And after, at the end, if you guys have any questions, we can just break them down, right? So these are all of the markets that I analyze every single week. As you guys watch the bootcamp videos and the Set and Forget strategy videos, you guys are going to see these pairs pop up. Out of these markets, I actively monitor every Sunday. And then by the end of today, we will have top 3, 2, 4, 5, whichever ones make the most sense, right? So why these markets? Just because over time, I've just ended up falling in love with these. But there are weeks where traders within the Discord, they literally find pairs that are not on here. For example, let's just say I go to the whole entire watch list. So let's say, for example, like Euro NZD. And then in Euro NZD, they find a beautiful trade setup that I wasn't even looking at because it's not on my watch list. And that's perfectly fine. So what I do is I just add it to my watch list. Like, I'm not stuck to just my markets. I'm stuck to a trade that makes sense. I'm stuck to a trade that all of the confluences are met. So there are weeks where some traders, they add trades to my watch list, or we take some off. I mean, we never really take on any off because there's really no point. But there is weeks where I do add other pairs in here just because you guys end up finding really good ones, like for example USD CHF or whatever. But I mainly just focus on these blue ones, right? So let's just start off with I just go from top down. So for this week, GBP USD, well, last week, as you guys can tell, we entered right here at the left head, right shoulder, retested the EMA, 1 hour bullish pin bar. We explained how we're looking to fill in the wick. Everything was good, right? So you guys know we always start off on the weekly. Beautiful weekly rejection from this area of interest. Beautiful weekly pullback. If you guys watched the Sunday swings from last week, I said if we didn't break and retest under this zone right here, literally break, retest under here to then sell, then what we can expect is overall long bullish moves to the upside, which this is now going to create a new higher high. So obviously we're going to head to this point right here, which would be this previous weekly structure point right here, which we pretty close. You can probably get that later this week. It's about 50 pips away. But then after we break above that higher high, we're headed to another structure point. So the closest structure point that is next would basically, well, I mean, this is another confirmation that the moment we body close above this zone right here, all we're going to do is just wait for the same exact thing. Break and retest and keep taking this trade long. Like, we're going with the trend. The trend is our friend. So once we break above this structure level right here, we just wait, literally do the same thing as it just did here. We broke it, retested it, longs, right? So for this trade, after we break above this structure point, our next take profit should either be this point right here, because it's the closest structure point, or maybe this one up here. But these are obviously long-term goals. We're just looking at where we are right now. So this weekly candlestick, in order for us to continue going to the upside, we kind of have to have a wick pullback to keep the move up. So the daily time frame, it could have a solid retest of this structure point right here. If you notice, this can be the level of, let me just make it a lot cleaner. We can have a retest of this level right here, which is resistance, resistance, resistance. If you notice, every area of interest needs to have a minimum of 3 touches. We got 1, 2, and then 3. If you notice, we've kind of already broken it. We've already retested it. So we're probably already destined to go to the upside. But I do think that this weekly candlestick has to wick retest into it. So maybe it could do it again, but it essentially, it basically already did it. If you notice, like, look at that beautiful trade right there. break, retest, head to the upside. But I do think it could come back down and then go to the upside. But as of right now, and I say this all of the time, I am not interested in this trade anymore. Like, this is just me predicting for this week, but I don't look to enter trades in the middle of the move. I only look to enter trades right before the whole entire push. Like, this right here is considered scaling in, and I don't like scaling into pairs just because I feel like this is where you get worked out. This is where this is just where the shit gets all messed up, right? There's just no point in me for scaling in. This is why I just take one solid trade at the bottom before the whole entire move. If you guys notice, we literally took this trade right here. We took it right at this point right here. Right now, this trade is technically in the middle. So we don't know if it's at the point. So we took the trade right here, right at the area of interest, rejection from structure point, all that stuff, right? We took it right before the potential new push to the upside. But right now we're right in the middle of where we can either keep going up or we can have a retracement to then keep going up. Does that make sense? Type 1 if yes, type 2 if no. Like, if you guys notice, I bought once this push here was coming down, like right before, like as soon as this leg stopped, this is where I bought. So I like buying right before the blow up. I don't like buying in the middle of the move. And that's what everybody wants to get in because they already saw the move happen. So now that they saw the move happen, they're like, all right, dope. Now I want to get in. That's not how this shit works. That's where you get caught in losses and all that stuff. Like, and I say this all the time, exactly. You got to buy at the higher low or sell at the lower high. You're not buying at the higher low right now. You're technically buying at the higher high. You're technically buying right here. You don't want to buy up here. You want to buy at this higher low. But this is what I say all the time. Like, if a crypto or a coin or whatever potential investment made it onto the news, you're already late. Like, it already got big enough to make it onto the news. You got to be in before it. So this is the exact same thing. Like, if you're already interested in, oh, it's heading up to the upside, you're already late. So our goal is to get in before everybody knows about it. So now we're going to watch people kind of get stopped out and stuff while we already got the move. I'm supposed to still be in this trade. I just ended up closing around here because I over leveraged. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't want to keep holding the trade, and I already made what I wanted to risk. So I just simply over leveraged on the trade. So this is basically for GBP USD. Unless this trade comes back to another daily area of interest, it's like down here again without breaking the structure point, I'm good. I don't want to take this trade. So for now, GBP USD, no longer interested. NZD JPY. NZD JPY, we are, I don't know, let me just mark it up because I actually have no idea. All right, so clearly we are bullish on the weekly. Beautiful weekly, bullish engulfing kind of morning star, rejection from structure point, 1, 2, kind of 3 touches throughout here, round psychological level. Daily time frame is technically bullish. Depends if you count this as a structure point, because if you were to do this, then it is bullish. If you don't do that, then it is not bullish, because obviously it would just be like this. It would just be one move to the downside. So it would really just, so this would be the lower high, this would be the lower low. So it just really does depend how you look at it. But if you were to consider it bullish, this kind of has a little ugly inverted head and shoulders, which you guys already know what we're waiting for, which would then be the retest to the neckline of the head and shoulders, retest to the structure point, retest of round psychological area, round psychological number, retest of weekly area of interest. And then by the time that this retest, then we got kind of the EMA coming in as a extra confluence. So this is what I want to show you guys, right? I'm like showing you guys how I paint the picture, showing you guys how I get all of these things that I need in order to take the trade. Like, there's so many things that go into me taking the trade that when I take it, I'm so confident of it going to the upside. That's why, you know, you just set and forget. And if you notice, by the time that this does pull back and then it does retest this structure level, we're retesting, you know, kind of like the 4 hour, like you can literally see the shift, right? You can literally see how this market was headed to the upside, and then we headed to the downside, And then now you can just kind of see how it's about to start heading to the upside again. Like the lower time frames are going to always start shifting first before the higher time frame. So I actually really like this trade, despite, you know, the little bit of a weirdness here. But yeah, I'm basically just going to wait for the retest of this structure point right here. Obviously on a daily, a retest of this. By the time we come back, it's the EMA, so on and so forth. So this is basically what I come here. I get my alarm, NZDJPY. Shit. So the alarm, I just kind of just realistically, I just put it anywhere, wherever you think it's just going to get hit. So I just put here at area of interest. So once it's at my area of interest, now is when I'm going to come, and then I'm going to add my confluences, so on and so forth. So moving on, next we have NZD/USD. So NZD/USD, we're at this very, very key structure point. So obviously we are bearish. If you notice here, this time frame went from lower low to then higher high, and then now we are lower low again, right? So this is the lower high, this is the lower low. Weekly time frame is bearish, and then now we are retesting this beautiful structure point. We have 1, 2. If you don't want to consider this 3, you got 3 touches right here. So this is a weekly area of interest. Now we go down to the daily time frame. The daily time frame is bearish as well. So we have weekly bearish, daily bearish, and then the 4-hour is supposed to be bullish, right? Because the 4-hour is the first time frame to shift to make it to that area. This is beautiful. So the 4-hour is bullish, right? So we got 2 time frames in sync, which is the most ideal, what we need in order to take a trade to the downside. So we're at this weekly structure point. Do we have an area, around psychological level in here? I don't know. So you just get the line, you throw it into the middle or anywhere inside the box, and then you just try to find like a round level in there. So 1,500, 200. So technically we don't have an area of interest in there because it's every 500. 250 I wouldn't consider round psychological, even though it's right in the middle. I just like doing every 500. So no round level in there. Daily time frame, we have a pretty solid bullish kind of momentum candle into there, which we obviously don't want to sell right after that. And then the 4-hour being bullish. Yes, the 4-hour is bullish. You guys can tell we went here from bearish, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So this is technically the higher high of this point. So for me to sell this trade, it is probably one of the easiest ones coming up this week. It is really super. It's actually very easy. All I need in order to sell this trade is going to be a break and retest of this structure point right here. So all I need is the break and retest of this structure point right here, because if that happens, that means that the daily probably is going to have a daily bearish engulfing candlestick. So we have a daily bearish engulfing candlestick. We're confirming that we're rejecting our weekly and daily area of interest. We go down to the 4-hour. When we break the 4-hour structure, now this 4-hour time frame is now bearish. So now that this time frame is then bearish, we got 3 time frames in sync. Once that breaks, all I need to do is wait for the retest of this structure point. And then by that time, you guys already know the EMA then kind of comes in, helps you go to the downside. So that's basically what I'm looking for this trade. But before I do anything, I first need for it to break the structure point, because this is currently right now the 4-hour higher high, and then this is the 4-hour higher low right here. This is the higher low. Obviously, once we break it, you guys already know we will then be bearish to go on with the other time frames. What do you think about the news? So all I use to trade is TradingView. I don't use the news for absolutely anything, because you can't add it as a confluence. Inside the full set and forget strategy, everything explains there what I think about the news. So far NZD/USD is bearish, NZD/JPY is bullish. AUD JPY. So weekly time frame is bearish, daily is bullish, 4-hour is bullish. I mean, honestly, I'm good. Doesn't look clean. Next. So that's what I do with the pairs that I don't like. If something that I don't see right off the bat, I just throw it away. There's no point in me to dig deep into it. Like, I'm not here to make something out of nothing. I'm just here to take a trade that makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense to me right off the bat, it's out. You get me? I don't have to waste my time or do anything with it. So for example, like, I mean, it's just very simple, right? What makes more sense? Does it make more sense to take, for example, let's just say these buys right here once it retests, or try and figure out what to do with this, right? It's just so much simpler. I mean, there's no reason to fight with it. And that's what I feel like where the real value is with what I do with you guys, like this ongoing mentorship to show you guys like the insights of how to really stay away from the bad ones and just stick to the good ones. For example, same thing here, like this just doesn't look crazy clean to me. Doesn't scream my name. I'm good. Throw it to the bottom. NZD CAD weekly, we are bearish. So if you guys notice right here, we are super far from an area of interest. So I would consider this point right here, let's just say hypothetically, for example, to be an area of interest compared to, let's say, that one or even this one that we are already there. There's no point for me to even be entertaining this. This is just far from it. I'm good. Get it out the way because these are already ready to go. Why would I even waste my time waiting for the other one to get ready? We'll figure out that one next week. So this one right here is just a kind of a trade that I was looking to enter, but it just didn't present itself. CAD JPY, I'm good. Throw it to the bottom. AUD USD. So very, very, very strong weekly bullish candlestick. We are still bearish because we are under the structure point, but the daily time frame is obviously bullish. I'm good. USD CAD, it's been in this kind of range or choppiness, even though this market structure is still very much bullish. So this would be the higher low, and then this would be the higher high. So we're yet to break above it. So this market structure is still very much bullish, but technically as of right now, we're just like, at the bottom of whatever this is. So I'm good. GBP CHF, I already have my long-term position, but not interested in anything for now. USD JPY. So USD JPY, I'm actually interested in, well, I was last week, but I don't know about anymore. You guys see, like, I have my alarms set up even from like a week or two ago. And if they don't get hit, I don't do anything. Like, there's nothing I can do if my alarm doesn't get hit. So it's a perfect example of a trade that just didn't happen because the market hasn't presented it yet. Basically, all we're waiting for right here is for this weekly candlestick to come into this area. Once it retests structure, then it's going to create a higher low to go to the upside. If you guys notice, this trade looks very similar to GBP USD. It is literally the same exact thing. It's the same exact break and retest. Just as of right now on USD JPY, this is basically where we are. We're kind of like at the point where we're about to start having the pullback. So if you notice, that is that. And then see right here how we're about to start having the pullback into this area to then go to the upside. So we kind of just have to wait for it. And until my alarm doesn't get hit, I'm not interested in it. Euro AUD, very strong bearish play right here. So if you guys notice, we finally have broken through this level. I've actually been calling this for quite some time. It just never came back and did it. So if you guys notice, we have a big time left head and then a right shoulder. We've obviously broken through the neckline, but it just didn't come back and retest my zone how I wanted to. Because if we look at the zone on the weekly time frame, look how well respected it is. It is structure, point. It is a very, very well respected. So what I anticipated for this weekly to break through it. And then if you notice here, it came back and it retested it perfectly. If we see this move over here on the daily time frame, we literally just broke it. After we broke it, We retested it. Beautiful daily bearish engulfing. You could get in on any of these bearish engulfing, and then you just set and forget the shit out of this trade. Like easy, because you're breaking the big weekly structure point. If you notice, if we literally just go right down this line this way, we broke it. We never retested it. So there's just no trade we could get into it because the confluences simply didn't align. So for right now, I'm no longer interested in Euro AUD, Euro GBP, no longer interested either. I don't trade gold. I just analyze it, hope Duchess gets better. Duchess, I saw she broke her back. She's an OG, and she's the one that just murders this. Honestly, she literally is just sniping entries on this all the time, and we just analyze it because of her. But we'll leave her to analyze it this week in the chat. She always sends her predictions. GJ, not interested. GJ's at a weekly high. Again, same thing. Weekly, daily, higher high. So right now, this is how the weekly looks. It's up here. And this is how the daily looks. It's up here as well. They're all at the higher high. I'm not interested at buying at a higher high point. On any move, I need to buy at a higher low. So this goes to the downside. This, if you guys notice, I've been waiting for the retest. Nothing. So I'm not interested either. AUD JPY. So this was another super simple trade. So just literally breaking a retest. So if you notice here, we broke above this structure point right here. We then retested it. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 touches. We go down to the 4-hour time frame. Literally, our entry signal was on the lower time frames, retesting this beautiful zone. I think we got in on, yeah, look at it right here. We got in right here on the lower time frames, on the inverted head and shoulders at the area of interest. Left head, right shoulder. We got in literally at this bullish engulfing candlestick. I think it was on the 15-minute. Yeah, it was one of these candlesticks. I don't really remember, but I kind of set myself short, honestly, with the take profit, because I just wanted to get out at this structure point right here, because it's the same thing as GBP USD. This is a very well respected zone. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches. So I was supposed to get out a little bit before, but I just stretched it out to that daily candlestick closure, which gave us a 1 to 3 risk to reward. But if I would have just kept set and forgetting, we would have doubled whatever profits I made. But obviously I don't get greedy. I just simply stick to the plan. But this is the power of buying with the trend. Like, the trend is your friend. So even if you guys want to close 70-80% of your position, gotta let some run. That's the power of having 2-3 time frames in sync, because you're just continuously going with the current. It's like, this is, bro, like I told you guys, this is supposed to be easy. This is not supposed to be hard at all. So then we're back at GBP USD. So for this week, we're just going to add GBP USD to it, leaving us only with 3 pairs that we're going to be trading. So I would put my number 1 on NZD USD, because we already have 2 time frames in sync. And then this one, once it breaks it, it would be 3 time frames in sync. So we're pretty much waiting for the 4-hour structure level to break. That means we should have we then wait for the retest of the 4-hour structure and EMA. So this is pretty much what we're waiting for this week on this trade. Check out AUD CHF, USD CHF. I got you. I'll check it out right now. I just want to set you guys up with these. Once I set you guys up with these, we could check it out. So right here, pretty much we're at this weekly area of interest. Daily, we are at this area of interest. So pretty much I just need this to reject. Obviously, we can't enter a trade unless it rejects our area of interest. If we have that bearish engulfing candlesticks, that is fire. That means that now the 4-hour has broken bearish. And then that means we just need the next daily wick pullback. That wick pullback will then give us, on the lower time frames, the 4-hour pullback retest, to then obviously retest the structure point, EMA, so on and so forth. Next is NZD-JPY. NZD-JPY, we have a beautiful weekly bullish engulfing, rejection from structure point. All we're waiting for is this wick right here. That wick, once it fills it, then we should blow up for the rest of the wick. I mean, for the rest of the week. So then obviously on the daily time frame, we're going to be potentially retesting neckline, retesting. So let me just wait. I'll put waiting for. Daily and weekly area of interest. And then on the 4 hour, we should have. All right, so pretty simple. All we're just waiting for is literally this pullback to this level. Once we have that pullback, we'll just wait for our entry signal, which is the structure on the 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour, whichever one is clear. And when that point comes throughout the week, we'll be chatting it up in the chat. So that is for NZD JPY, which realistically, I like it better than NZD USD, but you got to show respect to the time frame confluences if we don't consider this to be bearish, right? So then we have GBP USD, which GBP USD is just more of a, I guess, like to just be in sync with the market. So it would just be, let me just do this. It would just be wait for retest of daily area of interest. So it's pretty much just wait for something like this. Wait for a retest of this structure level to then potentially get some buys to then this point. But then this is where, like, if you get into this trade, this would be your take profit. You have to stick to the same take profit. Your stop loss has to be so tight for the risk to reward to even make sense, So this is kind of where it starts getting a little bit tricky. And, this is where like the wick outs come in. And this is where I just rather not have that. I'd rather just get in at this trade. But the risk to reward is a lot better. You give it more breathing room and it's just a lot less stress. But, this is just for educational purposes. So let's check out AUD CHF. So AUD CHF on the weekly time frame, we are currently bullish. If you guys notice right here, this would be lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, higher high. So weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is then bullish as well. If you guys noticed, we have a beautiful lower low, lower high, and then we have a higher high. So daily time frame is bullish. And then the 4 hour time frame is bullish as well. Making this the higher low. And then this point right here is the higher high. So then 4 hour time frame is bullish. So if you guys notice, all 3 time frames are here. They're all at the higher high point. If you notice the weekly time frame, we are currently at a higher high. In order for us to take this trade, we then have to come back and retest at least this zone. Does this zone have at least 3 touches? Because again, once you guys start watching the video, you guys will understand. So this is the higher high, this is the higher low. So we mark our area of interest in here like this. So we could only look for buys inside this zone. If you guys notice, we look left and there is literally nothing. I'm sure there's more on on FXEM, but on Oanda, it just shows up to 2005. And I doubted that the other years this market would be down here, but it's already still too far. So in terms of the area of interest, we literally only have this point right here, which is on the weekly. It only has 1 touch. So this would not be considered an area of interest because an area of interest needs to have a minimum of 3 touches. So if we were to go down to the daily time frame, this would be the higher high. This would be the higher low. So our area of interest would have to be inside the zone. So it would have to be, let's say this one. We got 1, we got 2, and then again, kind of nothing else to the left. Maybe if we make it all the way over here. Let me see. Let me see if I could get it. Got it. Okay. Make it over here. Still doesn't touch it. So we don't have 3 touches. Basically, we can't find an area of interest because an area of interest needs to have a minimum of 3 touches. So for that reason, I'm not interested on AUD CHF. Does that make sense? Type 1 if yes, type 2 if no. Should be should be very simple. USD CHF. USD CHF. Weekly time frame. I'm just not interested. Like it's crazy how I could just know like right off the bat from seeing it. I mean, we are bearish. Daily time frame. We just went bearish. So I guess this looks, I mean, this looks solid here. So if we come here, we got 1. We kind of got 2. I'm sure we stretch it out. We could get 3. 4-hour, beautiful retest. So look, this looks a lot better, right? I mean, this just looks way better. So if you notice here, we have support, we have some support, and this is exactly what we want to see. If you guys notice, beautiful bullish moves to the upside, and then what do we get? We just broke out of nowhere. So we're about to create that lower high to have that huge lower low leg to the downside because we have clearly shifted. Like it's almost like we were like in this bullish trend right here, and then we just shifted outside of this channel, retesting, and now heading to the upside. Obviously, we don't use trend lines or any of that stuff, but that's just to get more of like a visual representation of what we're looking for. So if you notice here, we're retesting this level of support, EMA. Basically, all we need here in order to take this trade is a shift of structure. So the shift of structure will literally be at this point right here. So once we shift this 15-minute or this 30-minute structure point, literally once we get this right here, then this is where we want to enter the trade, because once we get that shift, that on the 2-hour, 4-hour should look like a solid bearish engulfing. And that's pretty much where we can get into this trade. Let's do this. I'll add this trade to my watch list. So let's do USD, CHF. Let's change it from green to then blue, and we'll add it this week on top of this one. Because it looks like a nice small day trade, which I mean, I'm all for you. I mean, I'm just, you know, but yeah. Euro USD, I'm already not interested in it. And then, okay, we'll do the last one, Euro NZD. So Euro NZD weekly time frame, we are technically bullish. Daily time frame, we are bullish, I guess. And then the 4-hour time frame, yeah, I'm good. This one just doesn't look clean at all. So yeah, so this is basically what we have for this week. We have NZD USD, NZD JPY for longs, here for kind of some little day trade shorts. But keep in mind, this is not like a pair that I would really actually trade. It does look clean, but if you notice, we have like really realistically like no daily like rejections. Like we just have this kind of daily thing, because if you notice, this daily candlestick can still kind of create a wick like that. That wick is where a lot of people get stopped out. Then the next daily candlestick is then the bearish candlestick. And then after that bearish candlestick, then there's another one that's the wick. We enter on that wick. We enter on this wick right here. We don't enter before the rejection. We enter after the rejection on the daily, then on the 4-hour pullback on the wick. You guys are just going to see as the week goes, like how simple it gets. Bro, you're mad experience. I mean, yeah, man, I've been, you know, doing this for like, it's not even how long I've been doing this. Like, it's just like the seriousness of how I've been doing this. Like, I have seen, let's put it like this, guys. Let's put it like this. GBP USD, right? We've all obviously looked at GU. I have seen every single one of these candlesticks tick from around this point forward. So as of this point right here to this point, I have literally lived through all, like I have seen every single one of these candlesticks. I've seen all of this happen live, like all of this. So I have so much, and not only on just GBP USD, I've seen every single one of these candlesticks on every single one of these pairs every single day. You know, like like I literally am in sync with the markets so heavily, like it's kind of fucking scary. It's literally like a cheat code. I've just seen all of this. I've lived through all of it. So I kind of have an idea of already what's going to happen next. Obviously, that's the whole point of experience. But you guys are going to see how every single week you guys are going to get the flow of it. You guys are going to see how simple it gets, because I make it all so simple and I explain everything so effective that you guys are just going to catch on to it. But you guys, like, what I feel like the most key is just these weekly calls. And like I say this all the time, let me actually stop this recording so it doesn't get too long.